it just
Not
takes a
as
lot of
professional.
extra energy. It's kind of like, let's say you were running your own bakery and you were the only employee and you're answering the phone. That is, defeating because you're just running around in circles trying to do it all yourself. In the case of having a website, the website would be like your employee and it would be doing all the work and automating and moving everything along. And then you're just making your
Right.
charcuteries or
Yeah. Whatever your
bread
breads
or
or
whatever it
whatever.
is you're making.
Welcome to the Charcuterie and Cottage Biz podcast, the show for makers, bakers, and food creators ready to turn their kitchen skills into real income without all the overwhelm. We're your hosts, Andrea and Patty, the Grazing Biz Sisters, a professionally trained chef and a multi-million-dollar marketing strategist with over 60 years combined experience helping entrepreneurs start, price, market, and grow profitable food businesses. Whether it's a side hustle or full-time dream, you're in the right place. Now, let's start the show. Hey, 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 we're back and Happy New Year. We're live and in person. It's January 26th. How are you, sister? What's
It's not
happening?
January 2026. I'm like, it's not the 26th yet.
Not
Wait, huh?
yet.
It's
No,
only the
it's
14th.
January 2026.
Yeah.
2026 we are. So for
Hmm.
anyone listening to us in the future, if it's 4 years from now, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
hopefully whatever we say today is still relevant.
It's still relevant. Doesn't really go away, but you never know. There might be a whole nother system of things that need to happen. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Hey, why don't you tell everybody your how your event went this past weekend? You were down here in Scottsdale,
Hmm.
uh, and you were
Yeah.
selling your goods. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, for those that are in Scottsdale, I did the Mercantile Market, which is at the Scottsdale Civic Center. It's the first time I've ever done it. It was much bigger than I expected. Just a lot of foot traffic. Little bit disappointed by the fact that there weren't a ton of actual, what would we call them, crafters.
Yeah.
Most of the people there were resellers, which is where they might buy something wholesale. And it seemed like there was a lot of beauty products, like, press on, no offense to all those people, more power to you if it works. It's just that type of event is not necessarily what I want to go for. I would
Hmm.
prefer the bigger ones with all crafts and arts and things, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I still did great.
With your soups.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no, I'm not disappointed at all. If I didn't have other things scheduled, which I do, they do them monthly apparently. I would probably do it again. So I'll be
Hmm.
back.
Hey.
Yeah, it was a good event. Not, aside from the wind, powered up on Sunday and people's tents. This is another thing. I know I've talked about it in the past. Weight those tents down, guys. If you're going to go do pop-ups or craft fairs or whatever, do any kind of vending, you got to have the right weights. And there were people literally like there were tents flying overhead, like flying, like gone, like TikTok funny flying. So that's
Was
a
there
good.
stuff hooked to it, like clothing and
No,
things?
I never saw anybody's stuff hooked to it.
Oh.
Just the tents just went flying. All three people around me. So I was in this one corner. I had a corner booth,
Hmm.
and the three people that were around me, behind me, kitty corner, and then next to me, they all flew away,
Oh my
and
gosh.
they had to close up. So I don't
Wow.
know why. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
take much wind to take those things down, and
Mm.
why you would go and not put anything. I mean, zero, like nothing on these bottom of these people's tents. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So that is one thing that I
I think
can't
that's
stress
actually,
enough.
everything that you're just saying is a really great lesson for everybody who's listening. If you're going to do markets, number one, obviously weight down your tent. The other thing that
Hmm.
I think that you've learned is some of your displays are really
Yeah.
heavy. Like you made displays out of old cabinet doors that were kind of
Hmm.
like, what do you call this? I don't call them
I
pancake
did
boards,
A-frames with
A-frame
these
boards.
yeah, we redid our cabinets when we moved into our house. Long story how that
Yeah.
happened. But anyways, we redid them and I didn't know what else to do. I had everything blow away at another event when I first started doing this, and I had to come up with something that would hold them. Here's the thing though, they didn't hold on this event.
Even
The
this
wind
one.
was coming right at me. I
Yeah.
had to pull everything down and put everything in baskets this time. And I had to just rearrange the entire thing. Those had to come down because they
Right.
were blowing off the table. That's how bad these winds were. They were
Hmm.
more sustained winds versus like sometimes up here in northern Arizona we get like a gust. So sure, you're holding everything down, but you're only doing it once. These were sustained. They were only 20, 25-mile-an-hour winds,
I
but
don't know
they
what
felt
was
like
going
freaking
on.
hurricane.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was crazy.
it was weird.
So,
It's not even
it was
April.
everything was blowing all over the place, and people were blowing. I mean, it was crazy. When I saw the tents, other people's tents like literally flying up in the air, I'm like, oh my Lord.
Yeah,
I thought that was going to doom the event for that day. It did not. We still did not have the same foot traffic that we had on Saturday, and that's
that's
normal.
normal.
Sundays are typically slower, but we still had, I don't know what their foot traffic is. I don't know if they even keep track. There's no way because they don't charge tickets to get in. But it was a good one. I would say
Yeah.
20,000 people at least, maybe 10, maybe 10. But
Well,
it was a good foot traffic event.
yeah,
So
well, I had
beautiful
to laugh
weather.
because my mom and me and my son and his kids had come to the event, and then we left it to go to grab some lunch. Luckily, we were close by
Yeah.
because this
Luckily,
tells you
thank
how
God.
busy you were. You
Yeah.
had to call me, and I was gone for a good hour and a half to see if I was
Right.
still in the neighborhood so that I could come and relieve you to go to so that you could go to the bathroom,
I had to go to
which
the
was
bathroom. So
bad.
I mean, I
What
held
happened, by
it.
the way, on that?
Yeah.
Because did you ask them, did they have
I
anybody to
did.
back you up on
I
Sunday?
did. So normally the organizers will say, here's a phone number to call. Number one, if you have any issues, like if your tent's flying away or whatever, or you got to go to the bathroom or you're throwing up or who knows what. So because most crafters and vendors are there by
By themselves.
themselves. So and usually the organizers will come around and introduce themselves on the first day and be like, make sure here's the phone number, you have any emergencies, whatever. So there was a phone number on one of the emails. It was very, it was at the bottom, but it said for only emergencies. And I don't know, I just assumed somebody would come around. Well, they didn't on Saturday, and then I had to call Patty. Thank God she was close by. Thank
Mhm.
God you guys had not left the area because I was like sick. I was feeling sick
Oh
because I
no.
couldn't go to the bathroom. And we
Yeah.
were just so busy, I could not even walk away to like, so normally you would ask another vendor next to you,
Yeah.
hey, can you watch it for a sec? I'm going to run to the bathroom. And that's never a problem. It isn't. But when you're busy,
Everybody's
and
busy.
all of
Yeah.
us were busy. It wasn't like it, so
Yeah.
when all of us are busy and there's no way nobody could help out, I was really in trouble. So,
Right.
yeah, so Patty
Well,
came and
good.
relieved me. Then the next day, she came by in the morning and introduced herself. I'm so sorry, I was so busy yesterday. And we da 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 da. And I said, listen, I'm food for thought. Every event I've ever been to, they always have somebody come
Romer.
around or give you a number if you're in trouble or if you need to go to the bathroom. And she goes, well, normally everybody like asks their neighbor. I said, dude, I was so busy I couldn't ask my neighbor, and they were busy. Nobody
Yeah.
could leave.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, that's
Anyway,
another,
well,
lesson to
the
learn.
plus was that you were busy and you had a good positive event
Hmm.
and made some money. So that's really good. I think another lesson that people can take from this is your first comment was the event had people, other vendors there that you did not think were probably a good fit for you, not you, but maybe the event.
Yeah,
Let
right.
me finish real quick because I think the problem is that the event organizer says, "Oh, this is what the kind of stuff that's going to be there," and from looking at the flyer,
Hmm.
it looked like it was more artisan type stuff, and that obviously you have that, but clearly that wasn't the case. So they were letting other people in, and I think, and when you're vetting out these places you're going to go to, if that's important to you, you really got to find out who else is going to be there, so that
Hmm.
you know who your competition is for one, but also does it fit with your theme or whatever it is you got going, no matter what you're selling.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
And so you would
Yeah.
agree with that, I'm assuming. So,
Yeah, I would. I went back and looked at the actual application and then their flyers that they had. And it does say it doesn't necessarily specify that it's an arts and craft market. I think that's
mhm.
why they call it, they do say arts and crafts and whatever, but they don't specify that that's what it is, like mostly. So let's say you go, one of my next events is Tempe Art
Yay,
Festival.
congratulations.
I
That's
know
a
I'm
big
so
one.
excited about that. And then, of course, Fountain Hills, which is an art festival. So they are only arts, only crafts. They don't do wholesale, although they did the last time I was there. But
Mhm.
I think there's people that squeeze in and say, I made it myself. And then they show up and it's like, there's no way you bought that off of Temu. So it just depends,
Yeah,
I think, I give the organizers a lot of credit because they do try to
yeah, to
vet
vet them
through
out.
those, and I'm sure there's people that don't tell the truth, and it is what it is. So
I was
I'm
at
just
that.
saying
I was
it
at
was
that
a weird
event.
event because I didn't know that it was going to be like that, and there were so many people with the press-on nails and the jewelry and the whatever. They're not making any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Some of
Leave
that
leave
jewelry.
press on nails. But
Yeah.
I loved it because I thought it was a great event and I might try to look into I don't know if you want to share how much you paid to be there, but I was going to ask you because you had mentioned so another weird crazy thing I did over the holiday, which people didn't hear about yet, but I started hand crocheting,
Hmm.
basically hand knitting blankets and things. So I hand knitted Andrea a cat cave. They call them a kitty cave or a cat cave. And so the cat she has three cats. So the cats could have somewhere to go in there and hang out. And she kept sending me pictures when you got home
Yeah.
because the cat
He's
loved
in,
it.
he's in it right now.
He's in
The
it right
one
now. I
The
want to
big
get in
boy
there.
kitty, yeah, big boy kitty I have. He was in there probably within the first hour of me
Yeah.
putting it where I put it, and yeah, he loves that thing. So I do think I always tell people when it comes down to wanting to do this type of business, be a vendor at a craft fair or whatever, come up with something that not everybody has.
Yeah.
Whatever it's going to be. You want to do cupcakes or you want to do baked goods, don't do it like everyone else. You
Yeah.
have to be, because you got to remember in those cases, there's 100 other people out there that are doing the same thing. And I did tell Patty I've never seen those. I have seen the hand crocheted, where you do the whole braiding thing, the hand crocheted blankets,
Yeah.
but I've never seen those cat things. And if
Yeah.
you could do
Dog
cats and
beds. Yeah.
dogs, any kind
Yeah.
of handcrafted thing with
Right.
cats and dogs, people
People love
jump
their
over
animals.
backwards. They do. They love their animals. They'll spend the money on the animals. I sold 3 dog bandanas. I have dog bandanas that have only food fabrics, so the
Yeah.
patterns are food related, and sold 3 of those this week. And my daughter makes those because I don't have the patience for sewing, but she hand makes
Hmm.
them.
Yeah.
And we sold 3 of them this
Hey,
weekend, and then people put them like on the dogs as they were walking away. So I got pictures of them. But
nice.
come
Oh,
up with
good.
something original that other people aren't doing, or it's okay if they're doing it, just do it in a different way.
Hmm.
If you're not offering anything different, don't wonder why,
Right.
nothing's moving.
Right.
So
Well, I mean, even though it's not food related, what the cat house was, I guess the
I
point
love
is
it.
if you've got something that is different,
Mm.
I can tell you that I think it cost me around $12. I shouldn't tell her that, but there was some time invested. You
Sure.
had a cheap Christmas gift, but it cost maybe about $12 to make and about an hour and
Mm.
a half invested in actually doing it because it goes pretty quickly once you know what you're doing. But I think
Hmm.
I could sell it for somewhere between 50 and $60. So,
Hmm.
we'll see. I don't know. I put it on the list of things Patty wants to always do. Like, my
Yeah.
violin's still sitting over here. I haven't touched.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it's way kind of off subject that we've been discussing, but everything we discuss is important to you and all of your businesses because these are just great lessons for any
Hmm.
way to sell you whatever it is that you are making, whether it's food, whether it's dried soups and mixes. I sent her
Hmm.
a mix this week of which I had never seen. I thought it was a good idea. Was ramen noodle
Yeah,
mix.
that's on my list. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you'll
do
have
it
to
because
pack it with the
see
noodles.
Right, but see, that is like a perfect example of something that you
Okay.
never see
No.
ever. Like
Yeah.
nobody would ever see that, and it would stop them in their tracks. And
Yeah.
that is the key. My soups are not, even though you do see people selling dried soups, the way I package them, the way they're marketed, and the fact that they are each one handmade is the what stops people.
Yeah.
And I am doing samples at the market of the soups. So they know that they can taste it. They can say, "Oh my gosh, she knows what she's doing."
Yeah.
There's certain way to go about doing this. And granted, I didn't know all this when I started. When I first started, I didn't have any idea what I was doing. So with that being said, it does take time. We could tell you all kinds of stuff, but that doesn't mean it's going to fly off the shelf right away.
Yeah. You gotta,
So you
and
got to try things
you gotta be in the right, you gotta be in the right venue and all that stuff too. So I think
for
that's
sure. Yeah,
all
for
right.
sure.
Well, today, it was really kind of connected, but not connected. We are going to go through some top FAQs that we get. We're going to kind of lean back toward the charcuterie business because we do still have many people in here who are very interested in charcuterie. Although I want the cottage food people who are here on the podcast to listen because what we're going to say is probably going to apply to you too if you're baking goods or you're trying to figure out what it is that you can make from home. So we're going to do some quick FAQs about starting and growing a successful charcuterie business, quote unquote cottage business. So just keep that in mind as we're going through these quick FAQs. And we're going to be have to get on and off here pretty quickly today because I actually have a big webinar I'm doing tomorrow and I've got to get back on getting myself organized for that. And,
Hmm.
my fun getting having my real estate license for 20 years, we have to get continuing ed. I have two classes I have to take this week, tomorrow and the next day. And then I have a charcuterie gig on the weekend.
Hmm.
So I'm running all over the place. I'm actually hopefully to see you next on Saturday if I get a minute to see you. We're going to be up in your neck of
Hmm.
the woods.
I
So
know. I know.
yeah, I know. And weirdly enough, we're going to do charcuterie and sing at the at the
Oh,
same.
yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I
that's
don't know. I got to make sure Mike's ready. His fingers aren't. He's got. My husband plays guitars, and I don't think he's been practicing. So I don't know what we're gonna do. But anyway, so here we go. First thing is one of the top major things we hear all the time is, can I sell charcuterie or make charcuterie boards or any like that from home? And so we've talked about this several times, and there's some things to know. And the first thing is in most states it is not allowed. We
hmm
say that, but in Arizona it is. In some states they're going to allow you to do certain things. And I think the other big key is for instance, if I have a charcuterie cart. The reality is, I'm not to be creating and cutting or doing anything for the cart from my house because it's not prepackaged. So I think it's really just a matter of what's important to you, and as far as what you want to do and do you really want to do it, then you probably are going to need to get a commercial kitchen in order to do your charcuterie business from home, right? So it does
hmm
depend on your state. It might depend on your county. It depends on a lot of things and where you're going to be setting up and what you're doing. If you're creating boards from home and in Arizona, let's just talk to the people who are in Arizona. You are allowed to do it as long as you package it up at home and you put
hmm
labels on it. And then you do
hmm
not touch it and you take it to wherever it is you're going, whether you're going to sell it at a market or you drop it off at somebody's house or somebody comes and picks it up, as long as it's packaged at home and labeled appropriately according to our cottage food laws here. But if I go to a market and I have an open cart or I just have meat and cheese laying on the table and I want to throw it in a bowl, no, that won't work from home, right? But I
Mm-mm.
could cut it up while I'm out there, depending on the permit,
Right.
right? So
hmm
explain the on-site permitting part about that, because in most
Yeah.
cases, this is
It
going to
is
be
confusing. Most cases, you treat it kind of as a personal chef circumstance where you would buy the product before you arrived at the event, like immediately before. Can't store it, can't store it at home or anything. So you would go buy it, then head to the event, prep at the event, and go ahead and serve it up. That is one way to get around the not needing a commercial kitchen. Um,
Mm.
so there you go with that.
Yeah, and
That's
you
how
just
you
got to
can
get
do
the right
that.
permit to be able to do
Right. And you
that.
still need the right permits to make that all happen. And so those are things you want to check with your county or
Right.
state health departments.
And as far as licensing goes, I mean, like we need a cottage license here,
Hmm.
and it costs $7 to get. It literally
Yeah.
took me 2 weeks. Again, everywhere you go is probably going to require that. Not every state. I think you said, did you say Florida doesn't require? What other?
Yeah, Florida did not require a cottage license, which was
Yeah,
interesting. They didn't require it to go do the soups and things. So
yeah. Depends
I'm
on what you're making.
contemplating, I'm
But
contemplating next year heading out to Florida for hang out in
yeah,
the sun for a little bit.
yeah. I don't blame you.
But that's interesting because I just when I started researching it. But
Yeah.
I assume there's other states out there that do the same thing. But they still have some sort of, you need to do it this way and label it that way and procedures and stuff, but not necessarily needing a license to go sell, for example, bread at a market.
Right.
It's kind of weird, but
Okay, next
it is.
FAQ, which by the way means frequently asked questions. I just realized you didn't realize what that was. I'm sorry.
Who, me?
Yeah,
I
I say you
realized.
FAQ and you go FAQ question mark. I
No, I
thought you
meant
meant you didn't know
FAQ.
what it
Yeah.
meant.
No, no, that's not the question I had. I was
Oh,
questioning what are we FAQing about?
oh,
That's
oh,
what it
oh,
was. No,
gotcha.
I'm not like you with your BOGO thing. I don't
I
know
didn't
what
know,
BOGO means.
I didn't know what FOCO was. It's terrible.
For
Uh,
those that don't know, buy one, get one.
yeah, I learned that.
If you
All
don't
right,
know, you
so
know.
next FAQ. How much money can I realistically make selling charcuterie? Well, I'm just going to say as much as you can get away with. That's what I would say. But there is kind of a, kind of a calculation I think you could go with. What's your recommendation on this part,
On
Taylor?
what, the percentage part of
Well,
it
yeah, like a
or
percentage, or how much would you want to mark it up? I mean, obviously, you're going to want to add in all of the costs, right?
right.
So what are
I
all the
shoot
costs
for
involved, right?
personally, I shoot for anywhere from 70 to 80% markup. So for example, if something is $20, it costs you $20, then you're going to charge $100. So, but we have a calculator to figure that all out for
Yeah.
those that don't know, and I assume we're going to attach
Yeah.
that somehow to this.
Yeah.
But that, you want to look at that markup. And it doesn't mean that it's going to change every time because you don't want to have a website or be changing the price every time, you have an event or bring a board over to somebody's house or whatever. So you want to come up with, something that makes sense.
Right.
There's a
So,
process.
like if I was going to go do an event, we're go to a wedding, which we're going to do next month, where we have a wedding, is actually a family wedding, so we're not getting paid for it. But the point is,
Hmm.
we still got to figure out how much we need to make, and that's our next question. How much should I charge? Well, it says how much should I charge, but the reality is, how much do I need to make, I guess. But we still got to figure out how much we need to purchase. And I
Hmm.
think the purchasing is one thing and understanding how much you need. And then the time it's going to take to put into it should. So my question is, if we're doing like a 70% markup on a board, for instance, does that include the labor?
It normally doesn't, but all of that is also relative because you're the one doing it. If you
Yeah.
don't have any employees and you're the one gaining everything, and at the end of the day, you're the one taking the profit. So if you
Yeah.
have a board that costs you $20 and you charge 100, that $80 is going to you.
Yeah.
So
Totally
it's
how you
all
want to look at it.
relative. Sure, you can add the labor in and say, I want to pay myself $25 or whatever it is an hour, 35 an hour, and you can add that in. But then you need to be super careful because you don't want to be overcharging on those boards either, because then you won't get sales. So there's a very fine line. So a lot of that is comparative and competition,
Yeah. That's
looking at
exactly
competition and see what they're doing. So whether you're in the ballpark. And then, of course, looking at what they're providing for whatever it is that's comparable.
right.
So just be careful. I see a lot of people either overpricing or underpricing, or what I do see online is people going, this is how much food I had. and this is what was all left over, like people putting too much food out.
Too
Like,
much.
don't
I
get too nutty
know.
because all of that is just wasted
Where's it going to go?
food, you
Right.
know?
I
Yeah, I
would,
mean,
I
you're
would,
going to give it to the customer, but the
yeah,
reality is you could have you made too much stuff.
yeah.
So
Could
it's
have
got to
spent
be
less and earned more because
right.
you just got to get it right. So to get to that calculator, by the way, we've got a calculator that will help you calculate. I've got 100 people coming and I'm going to put these particular items on and I want to charge, and it costs this much to purchase it. There's a recommendation of like 2 to 3 ounces per person, depending on the meat. I
Hmm.
mean, on the meat and cheese, that's kind of
Hmm.
recommended. So that's kind of figured into that. However, you guys can go into the calculator and change that. So how you can get to it, along with many of our other resources that we have, is at grazingbiz.com/resources. And when you go there, all the stuff that we provide currently free and some paid little courses we have and software, if you want that, is at that page. You can get to it. It's kind of a nice free handy location to go and check out what we can do to help you out. Again, that's grazingbiz.com/resources. You might hear it in the little marketing ad that we're a little promo ad that we
Hmm.
have here, so you can get to that. So when it comes to that, the things you want to make sure that you don't forget to account for are ingredients, your time. How skillful are you? Like, are you doing something that's out of the box different that you could get away with charging more? For
Hmm.
instance, if I've been really wanting to get to a point when I get some time to create these gift boxes that not only have charcuterie in them, but also very beautifully decorated floral cupcakes. That's design skill. So, I mean, to me, that's a little bit more I can charge because it's not just me throwing a bunch of cheese and meat in a box and
Hmm.
here you go. So you keep that in mind and also packaging. And are you
Hmm.
going to be delivering if you're going to do that, right? So add all that in and determine, like Andrew said, and like I said, how much can you get away with? Because your competition is probably going to be part of the thing here. Another part of this is that I had somebody this morning. I keep talking about me wanting to get, I have been working on it on and off, is the charcuterie cart calculator. It's a little bit different. But I think most people can get away with $25 a person if you know
Hmm.
that you're doing an event that is being paid for up front. You know how many people are going to show. So it's a little
Yeah,
challenging though when you're doing a market like Andrea did this weekend, and you set up, say, the cart out there. You don't really know how many people are going to show up, how much you're going to
right.
charge, so you can get the money back and the time spent and all of that. But like,
Hmm.
we what do we charge, $15 or something per
Yeah.
boat or something out at a market like that? Because we did have to charge per person coming by, which could be lucrative if you have a good crowd and everything's marketed right, but or the weather
Yeah.
doesn't wash out
The
or
weather, or
blow
you
you
don't get
away.
monsoon storms in the middle of the damn thing.
I
Yeah,
know.
it was
Or
brutal.
the sun and the
I don't
heat
even want to
just
go
melt
back there. I
everything.
have like PTSD from that whole experience. So, yeah.
Hey friends, it's Patty here. Before we get back into the episode, I've got something really tasty for you. If you're dreaming about starting or growing your home-based food or charcuterie business, we've put together a whole bundle of free resources just for you, including calculators, marketing guides, AI prompts, our free Facebook group, everything you need to get yourself up and running as fast as possible. Oh, and don't miss our free webinar training on how to launch your business the smart way. You can grab it all at grazingbiz.com/resources. That is grazingbiz.com/resources. Oh, and if you're loving the value we bring you each week, do me a huge favor. Make sure to follow the show, hit us up with a 5-star rating, and share this podcast with someone who needs a little nudge to start their own food business journey. Your thoughtful follow and ratings help move our little podcast up the ranks of podcast land and gives us even more incentive to keep providing you even more food business success tips, advice, and resources. Thanks so much. We appreciate you. Alrighty, let's dive back into the rest of the podcast. Yeah, for
It's
those of
okay.
you go back and listen, probably
I don't know
July,
which one it was. Yeah.
July and August of
End of
26.
July. Yeah.
We told you about it. Anyway, go listen to that. All right, next FAQ. Do I need a website or can I just use Instagram and Facebook to sell my stuff? So, I'm not gonna lie, I sell a ton of crap just on Facebook, but I
Hmm.
will say that I have a website or landing page that I send people to.
Hmm.
So people find out about what I sell, and I sell a lot of different things on Instagram. I think the difference here is that you realize that Instagram and Facebook and TikTok or wherever you're at, whatever your favorite socials are, and when I say that, it really is where the people hang out that are going to like what you have. That the more that you post, and honestly, some of the recommendations are 2, 3 times a day if you can do that.
I
Now,
know.
that's a lot
Painful.
to
Hmm.
get organically seen. And that means you're not running ads to it. Now, we can talk about ads in a second, but I think you got to realize the difference here because you've got the venue that is actually getting people to you, which is the Instagrams and the socials of the world. And then once they get to you, the website is going to be important. So my thing for you, anybody who's like doing this, is do you want to take orders through Messenger and then have to track all that business? Would you rather have them come to your site and order in advance and pay in advance and make sure that you've got the money and not like make it and then find out they're never going to show up because you're going to arrange to have them pick it up later? Or do you want to
Hmm.
go through Venmo and go through that BS and not really do this? In my book, that's really not a business necessarily. You're kind of just winging it.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, what's your
I
thoughts on
think
it?
that's like, like you said, it's inconsistent and you can't it it
It's
just
not
takes a
as
lot of
professional.
extra energy. It's kind of like, let's say you were running your own bakery and you were the only employee and you're answering the phone. That is, defeating because you're just um, running around in circles trying to do it all yourself. In the case of having a website, the website would be like your employee and it would be doing all the work and automating and moving everything along. And then you're just making your
Right.
charcuteries or
Yeah. Whatever your
bread
breads
or
or
whatever it
whatever.
is you're making. And certainly you have to follow up with those things and you've got a certain amount of technical needs that need to happen. But for the most part, the orders come in, they pay online and, all you got to
You
do is make it,
you know what's
so.
coming and what you have to go purchase. So I
Hmm.
think you're considering, okay, I got to take orders, I got to deal with that and the tracking of it.
Yeah,
And ideally, if you want to market, you want to collect emails and ideally phone numbers of people so that you
right.
can continue to market to the people that could be your best clients or customers. So you want to be able to do that, and a website would do that because you would have an option for people to fill out forms, and then you've got their contact info that ideally will go into a software like a CRM, contact relationship manager, which is obviously what I do, what we do here, that help you with all of that. And then what about the questions you're going to get? People can go to your site. If you have a website, you could have a website chat widget, which, by the way, I'm so excited today, or I am, well, tomorrow in my webinar, I'm rolling out the first version of the voice AI. It's called AI Patty and it's a voice AI chat widget. And if you go to the site, it's now right now it's going to be on the real estate site, but we are going to be adding it to our charcuterie stuff and our cottage biz stuff. But it's basically Patty's recorded voice that is all AI. So if you go to the website, you click the chat widget. It's a voice widget with my voice on it answering your questions. And I wouldn't even have a clue when you go there. I mean, I will afterwards because I'll get record that you were there, but I won't be there answering your questions physically. It will be Patty AI based on uh, me training the chat widget to know what to say when you ask
Hmm.
a question. So it's pretty exciting. There's just a little bit of training that happens, but it is amazing our software does this. And how cool would it be if you had products that you wanted to tell people about and give them specifics? And if you want it, it could be your voice. It doesn't need to be your voice if you don't want it. I just thought it was good. I don't think I have a bad voice, so it doesn't bother. I'm kind of thinking it's okay. But our goal really is to just answer questions. So people can go to the site and either fill out a form and ask a question or do it through your chat widgets on your site, which, by the way, a chat widget's a little bubble that you see on websites at the bottom. People click on it and they ask questions, and sometimes it's AI, sometimes it's just, it could be a live person. Like when I contact GoDaddy, they send me through an AI initially, and then they direct me to a live person when I, really have issues. So they kind of get to the point of what do you need, and then they get you to the right department. Most of us don't have that kind of team, but you could do that, right? And then, of course, being able to show your offers, menus, pricings, photos. How much easier would it be if you could just tell some people who are on social to say, hey, just go to this link and you can learn all about it and order right there. So it's really up to you. How serious are you taking your business as far as let's just run it all on Instagram and Messenger? Or do
Hmm.
you really want to do this, and sell more on autopilot? It's kind of how I look at it. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's that. We've done many episodes on marketing, so definitely listen to those if you're really interested in hearing more about all this and how it all pans out. Sales funnels are very important for your business. All right, next frequently asked question. What equipment do I need to start? Well, Andrea, why don't you tell us? What do we need if we're going to start a charcuterie business? What kind of things would we want to make sure that we've got? The cool part is we really don't need that much equipment.
No, you don't. I mean, aside from naturally the things you need in your kitchen. Now, this is if you're making them on site, you need a big enough car to obviously put all these things in, which most people, any old car will probably do. Coolers. And if you do have a kitchen, if you're lucky enough to rent a kitchen or trade off a kitchen, however that's going to work, basic knives, all the tools, knives, cutting boards, you need to buy the boxes. So do some research. I get all of my stuff on Amazon. I've looked at all the restaurant stores and just don't find what I want. But, there's baking stores out there that sell boxes and things like that. You
Mhm.
can get disposable. I believe we have a catering list that will list all the main items that you need to
We
have.
do, yeah.
So, if you need slicers or whatever, I mean, it just depends, but depends on what you're going to make your boards with and how you're going to make them. But it's real simple. I mean, just the basic kitchen setup that
Right.
everybody else has.
I
And
mean, I'm like when I first started thinking about this, I was like, geez, this is not too hard. We need a
yeah,
refrigerator, a countertop, and a knife.
yeah. Pretty
So
much.
just as
You need
far
to have
as
some
prep,
know-how, you
yeah.
need to, yeah, do your research and teach yourself how to make cool garnishes and how to make those salami roses and,
Yeah. Well,
different
we're
ways.
talking about equipment right now,
But this
so
is equipment, toothpicks.
yeah, toothpicks,
Yeah.
packaging supplies, the special kind of tools that you think you need. I cut for the very first time in my entire life. When I was doing over the holiday, and I don't remember if I've talked about it since, but over the holiday, I did a presentation, a live class presentation that actually did really well. It was a group, it was an employment, it was a company, it was a friend of mine who worked for a company, and that company they do an online holiday thing. But anyway, I taught a class from my kitchen on how to create boards for this group of employees because it was their Christmas party. And on that note, we've had people interested in wanting to learn how to do that, and I'd be more than happy to. I'm going to actually try to line up a live class in our group that will just be a live class on how to get started and how I did it and how to do it. And then if you're interested, what's cool about this, by the way, is that you do not need to have any kind of license of any sort to teach anybody online
Hmm.
how to cook or how to create stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're struggling with the whole idea of, starting a charcuterie business because you do need to go, jump through a lot of hoops because I know in some areas they're really challenged in getting it set up, then why not just teach online? I'll show you how. I'll show you exactly how to do it and then how to sell it because you can sell it. So I got paid for it. So it's
That's so cool.
very
That really
cool.
is.
But that said, any other additional things you need, yeah, and let's get back to the commercial kitchen thing though, because we have talked about that a couple times in previous episodes. There are various places that you can rent a commercial kitchen, and I wouldn't recommend unless you are really doing this full time to go out and actually rent a commercial kitchen space 100% full time, right? We should
Hmm.
look, you should, in many locations there are, and we've got, go back and look at episodes we've done in the past, but you can get like rent a kitchen that's not being used during certain times of day by other
Hmm.
people,
Hmm.
churches, uh, community centers that, that have been approved for commercial use, right? I think that's the key, right? But some of those cooperative places that rent the space out to people that want to go rent an hour or two from here, you know,
Hmm.
an hour or two, right? So you got a lot of
Yeah.
options out there that if you want to look around, I would first go to the local churches and rec centers and stuff like that, because I think most of those are commercially, set up. But
Yes, they are. And restaurants that might be only open for dinner,
yeah,
and have the morning or daytime available.
right.
There's some of those. So we do have some major discussions about that because that's been the biggest
Yeah,
hurdle that people have had to get over doing
yeah,
this kind of stuff.
definitely.
Okay. So
All
anyway,
right. Frequently asked question number 6. Where do I find my customers? So that's a really good question because, doing all this work isn't going to do you much good if you're not getting customers. So
mhm.
first place is going to be Instagram and
Yeah,
Facebook.
Chef
Truthfully.
Andrea's favorite thing
I
is
know. Don't you
social
love it?
media. If you can't tell I'm being completely
Sarcastic.
ironic, yeah,
Yeah.
sarcastic, because I hate it,
Mm,
but it is a necessary evil and it's
yeah.
free. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to argue with that one.
Yeah, so I would encourage you to get into groups locally that you are allowed to post about in stuff you have. But even if you're not allowed to post, there's ways around it. You could, just go in there and respond, give tips and advice when people are asking questions.
Right.
I was in one the other day when somebody just said, "Hey, it's Business Monday," and then they allowed me to do it that day. And then, of course, what happened was I got solicited by the group owner that same day saying, "Hey, do you want to pay for ads in the group?" Which honestly, I might very well do. It just
Hmm.
depends. But you do have that kind of opportunity in those groups that are kind of closed down for you to go and market to and because they want you to do it, but they're going to charge you. So you have that option. I would also encourage, obviously, that you tell all your friends and family. When you post videos just in your Facebook, just on your Facebook, or your Instagram about what you're doing, it's amazing how people will reach out to you, and that's how I've gotten business from everywhere that I've gotten it for my charcuterie cart is me just showing people that this is what we're doing. And I know 1,000,000,000% for my real estate business, it works that way because it's and I have a coaching business for realtors, but if I was actually marketing for buyers and sellers, I would be doing it that way and promoting houses that I have for sale. So I just think it's important that you do that. And speaking of realtors, I think realtors, event planners, photographers,
Hmm.
I was talking to this gal this morning because what I'm setting up this weekend is a memorial for someone who passed away. If you can hook up with the mortuaries, I hate to say it, people that need these kind of things, you know, you just get a few good vendor types like that will always tap into you and they need you a lot. Corporate event type things, corporate
Hmm.
offices. I think you're going to have a huge opportunity that could probably keep you busy day in and day out. You know, realtors use this kind of thing for closing gifts. They would use it
Yeah.
for a broker open where somebody was going to list their house for sale and they were going to open it up for open house kind of thing, but they're going to have a lot of people in. So I would be all over that part. Plus the gifting, that was my plan was the gifts, the gift boxes, because those are great gifts for closings, when you close on a house. So any other ideas? Obviously, the markets. We've talked about that at nauseum already today, but setting up in a market,
Hmm.
putting a farm stand out at the end of the road if you're able to do that, if that's what you want to
Oh
do
yeah,
in
yeah.
the
I
middle of
always
winter.
forget about
I
that.
don't
That's
think
another
so.
one.
I know.
But yeah, I agree. There's just so many different avenues, and I know that we talk about it on a lot of other podcasts, the different ways you can get attention that don't. They always revolve around social media in some form or another. But if you just meet people, like my daughter works for a title agency, and she has contacts with real estate people, and so
Hmm.
that's when I do charcuterie. That's where most of it comes from. I don't,
Hmm.
like, and yes, going to the markets is a big thing if you want to go in person, if you can figure out whatever your health department allows you to do and go sell stuff in person because like today I had two people from the markets from other markets that I don't even know. I didn't ask them. I guess I should have. But they bought the soups and my information is on the soups and they were given the soups as a gift for Christmas and they
Wow.
wanted to order more.
Love
And
it.
so that's how that happens. And can you ship to Michigan? Can you ship here? Can you ship there? I have to answer those questions based on wherever you're at. So that's just how it happens.
Right.
You
And
never
I think
know.
on that, you've got to be sure are allowed to do that because in
That's what
most
I mean. You do
cases,
have to know. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So there I would say to get your first customers, just start telling your family and friends about
Hmm.
it. And then the easiest thing to do would be just take videos and photos of every event and every time you're in your kitchen, in the kitchen, wherever you're at, doing things, putting things together, giving tips and advice you could do. You've seen enough of the people that are on social media doing this. I'm not going to name
Hmm.
names, but there's plenty of people out there showing what they're doing, and that's all you have to do. And then people know that you do it, whether they need you now or later. At least they're aware of you. And that's
Hmm.
how I got the teaching gig recently to teach online because a friend of mine saw me that I have this business and she reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you do this?" And I'm like, "Wow, ding, 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 ding. Yes. I don't have to
Yeah.
go anywhere and you're going to pay me for the food that I have to buy to prep, and you're going to pay me to do it. Yeah, hello. And I don't have to leave the house." So, easy way to make money, right? So, anyway, that can happen and you can do it too. All
Hmm.
right. So let's see. Frequent FAQ. Let me just say that. Blah, 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 blah. How do I stand out when everyone is making boards now? Seems like everyone's making boards, but the reality is I don't know if that's all true. So it's not, I think the key for you to stand out is to, like Andrew said, have a clear niche and make it different. If you want to stand out because you seem to be in a crowd of everyone doing these things, do something different. Like I said, the gift box with something else in it, or the way that you package it, or you've got what holiday's coming up next? Guess what? It's not really a holiday, but it is. Super Bowl's coming up. And
Hmm.
what can you do to brand yourself as the Super Bowl charcuterie king or queen, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, I mean, and I've been seeing a lot of people like now they're out there right now. We're seeing a lot of people trying to prep for Valentine's,
Hmm.
prep for Super Bowl. Luckily, I'm not going to be here. We're taking a cruise. But
Poor you.
yeah.
But
So
along that Valentine's thing, one of the things that I have not done that I think is the most original thing ever is those charcuterie bouquets where they attach them to a
yeah,
skewer or whatever, and then they make these beautiful bouquets that looks like flowers. I love that. And if I
yeah.
had the inclination, I have so many other things going on, just like my sister does. So I have to limit, like and prioritize. But
Hmm.
I would love to do that. I think of all the ideas that came out with charcuterie, that would be one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And Valentine's Day is perfect for that,
I think it's a
obviously.
great idea. Maybe I'll figure
Yeah.
out how to make one of those into a class on how to do it. I
It's
got to go
so,
do a
they
little
just
research.
look so fun. They
Yeah.
really do. And I'll be honest with y'all, I've never done one, but I have experience doing flower bouquets and I have experience doing charcuterie, so I have no reason to believe I can't do it.
Oh, yeah, you
So
can do
maybe
it.
I will,
Yeah, you
knock
should.
myself out one of these days.
And
If
make
I
sure
get
you
two
turn the
minutes.
video on when you do it so I don't have to do
I know
it.
exactly.
Um,
I don't think I've ever seen, I'm sure there is videos out there because there's videos for everything. But yeah, showing an example of how to make one would be awesome.
Yeah.
So food for thought.
As far as standing out goes too, it doesn't all have to go center around the food itself. I think
Hmm.
your website, because you have one, hello, is going to make you
Yeah.
stand out because you're not
Hmm.
doing it through Instagram and messaging and all of that. Your ability to automate your communication so when somebody orders, they know instantly that, oh, that order went through, it's all automated. Again, we help you with this stuff. And now you're standing out because the other person is not operating like that. So you look a little more professional or a lot more
Yeah.
professional, and it's just a better experience for your customers that instead of just schlepping around looking like you're doing it half-assed and if you really want to make this a full-time thing, you really need to be doing that. So that actually takes us to FAQ number 8. Do and can I do part-time or do I have to be full-time? Well, that's totally up to you. I mean, it
Hmm.
really is.
Yeah.
It's a side, it can be a side hustle if you want it to be. If you have other full-time jobs that you have to attend to, but you want to start doing this, by all means, just got to plan your life around it.
Hmm.
But I would say it would be more challenging to try to like book all week long if you knew that you had to work during the day. Because, for instance, Friday, I have a continuing ed class tomorrow. I have a webinar in the morning and then a continuing ed class in the afternoon. Then I have to go shop for this thing on Saturday because Friday morning I have to prepare for the event on Saturday and I have another class on Friday. I'm trying to get these hours in before the end of the month. But
Hmm.
so I'm back to back to back. So you have to plan. And so you don't want to like leave your ordering page open, all the time if you're only able to do this part time because you got to
Right.
plan, right?
Right.
So
You don't want to burn yourself out between the job and the weekend, the
mm,
weekend charcuterie or cottage business. So definitely balance yourself out carefully.
hmm
And then you just see where it goes from there. I mean, most people that we know that have started a charcuterie or cottage business, they started off just doing it part-time on the weekends or saying, I'm going to make bread on Thursdays or whatever it is they're going to do. And next thing they know, a year later or 2 years later, they're running a full-blown, the
right.
side hustle turned into a full-blown business. We hear about it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not possible.
You
It's
can do it.
about your drive and,
But your goals,
yeah, what are your goals and what are you willing to do? Do you want it to be a part-time weekend warrior kind of thing? Great, then make it happen. It's
right.
not that, none of
Make
it's
it
that
whatever you
hard.
want it to be. I guess that's the
Hmm.
bottom line. And because you're the
Correct.
business owner, you can do whatever the heck you want, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, FAQ number 9. What is the biggest mistake or the biggest mistakes that new charcuterie or cottage biz owners make?
Hmm.
And I would say number 1 would be underpricing. Would you agree with me?
Yeah, I would say underpricing and what goes in line with that is like we said earlier, making too
Over
much.
purchase.
Yeah, over purchasing because you start to panic. So just, check yourself here and
Yeah.
there. Don't get nutty.
Yeah.
Make sure there's a very, very fine line on that one.
Yeah. I would also say some of the other big mistakes is skipping if you're really going to make this a real deal, skipping all the setup, the legal setup, the
Hmm.
licensing, the stuff that you know that you have to do that you can't just be, oh, let me just start doing this out of my house and no one will know. That
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
could be a
yeah.
massive problem for you and I would highly recommend you get insurance, all of that kind of stuff so that you're set up so that you're protecting yourself
Hmm.
and financially getting your talk to your CPA or talk to an accountant or something and make sure that you're doing your research on what you have to do to set up legally where you are, and then you'll be covered, right?
Right.
I also think, as we talked about already, is ordering willy-nilly on social media is really going to get you running. You're going to be worried. You're not going to be able to stay on top of stuff. I just know it doesn't take much because as soon as things get busy, you're going to have a hell of a time trying to track everything. So I think that's really important that you're not going to miss out on opportunities, number one, but also that you do follow up and make sure that the people are getting what they ordered. And it's going to be really hard to try to do that through texting and messaging and emailing and, get
Hmm.
it in a system so that everything's there and you can see it because they ordered online, they told you what they wanted, and now you're notified, so you know. And of course, tracking your costs are really important. So I think there's mistakes made there because we're not so good at that. I think it's easy to miss costs because
Hmm.
let's say I bought, and this is the case, I bought a big case, we bought a big case of those boats that we're going to put, that we put charcuterie in, and I'm going to use that for this week. And so the key is, I've already bought it, so, but I still need to track that as a cost for the product that I'm producing for the people. But don't forget that you have to buy that stuff, and
Yeah.
then that's going into the cost of everything that you're making because the last thing
Hmm.
you want to do is you're going to underprice and you've over purchased or you didn't count what some of the costs are and you end up
Hmm.
losing money. That's not even counting your time, but so I just really think it's important. I also think one of the other things is that if you try to appease everyone, you're gonna you really should just zero in on a niche that you want to work and either it be an area or the kind of things you offer. Don't like have a huge massive menu of a zillion things. You're gonna go nuts, It's just
Yeah. Your head's gonna spin off.
yeah. Like you focus strictly on those dried soups for the most part when it comes to food at your events like this, for the
Hmm.
most part, unless we're doing a charcuterie event together. But the reality is that's your niche, and people
Yeah.
know you for that now.
Hmm.
And it makes life easier too because you're doing all the ordering, you know exactly what you have to prep, you know what you need to buy, and it's pretty consistent now that you've got it figured out.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right. Hmm.
I don't even want to bring it up, but a friend of mine gave me some sourdough starter the other day, and not that I'm going to sell them, but there's so much work involved with those. I mean, you
It
have to
is.
plan.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
You have to
Seems like,
have, yeah. And, I hate baking. Can I just
yeah.
say that out
I
loud? I
I
hate
know.
it. I hate it.
I'm well aware.
So I know everybody that knows me and that's been a chef or been in my kitchens, I freaking hate it. And one of the reasons is because I'm better at the whole, oh, it needs a little bit of salt kind of thing, so
Hmm.
I'm better at tasting something and, bread and baked goods, patisseries they require a certain mental thought process and planning.
A little
And
more
sourdough,
science.
yeah, there's more of a science to it. Very, very good
Hmm.
analogy there. It's a very precise thing. You can't just willy-nilly that. And although you do see the old ladies, the old nanas and whatnot from Italy, they're just throwing a bunch
Yeah,
of flour in there and
I
whatever.
know.
But and our mom makes fry bread that way, which is really disappointing because none of us can get it right. But
Yeah.
the point is, it's a very finite thing, and
Yeah.
that's why I don't do it.
Yeah, and actually I love it. On the opposite end
I
of the
know.
spectrum, I absolutely love it because for me, people scarf down their meals so fast when they're
Yeah.
hungry that and then by the time they have dessert or something sweet and yummy and just the look on their faces, they're just so
Uh-huh.
happy and they're
Yeah.
going to savor it a little better. So for me, I actually do love it. It's not that I don't mind cooking dinner, but I if I had my druthers. And I don't even like sweets that much. I
Yeah.
just like the whole process of it. It's satisfying.
Hmm.
I mean, I can't wait really till I make my first little sourdough loaf. For those of you who do sourdough,
That'd be fun.
I'm mesmerized by them making the boule, the round, so there's a trick to getting your hands around, kind of the way you were showing me to make those rolls.
Yeah,
That
you have to do this like, yeah, you have to
yeah.
do this like rolling thing, which,
Yeah,
that is
on the
very
board.
satisfying.
It's very
Hmm.
cool. Anyway, so that to me is fun. So don't get turned off by my sister who says she hates to bake because I
I do.
love to
I
bake.
hate it. And that's why I say, that's
Yeah,
just me. I
yeah.
hate it. I love bread, even though I'm diabetic and not supposed to eat it.
Yeah.
It is one
You
of
eat
the
the
things that I
sourdough,
do
it's
miss
better.
the most. Yeah, sourdough actually is better. They do tell you that
Yeah.
it has very much a lot to do with the whatever the rising process is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I've been doing a lot of video watching. All right,
mhm.
last FAQ, and then we're going to wrap this up. How do I go beyond just boards and make this a sustainable business? So, or just bread or whatever it is you're doing. how can you make it sustainable? And I think you have to think about how are you, what's your offer? And this goes for digital marketing because I do a lot of digital marketing. You could sell a product for $12, right? And so there's a lot of work. When I go back, let's go back to that loaf of bread. What does it cost to make it? A few
Hmm.
cents, maybe? Because really it's just flour, sugar, or I mean flour, a little bit of sugar, some salt, maybe not even
Yeah,
sugar,
and water, maybe
honey.
some oil, depending on what you put in it. But yeah.
Minor, but and then, so it's not taking much financially, but and so you can't, how much can you sell a loaf for? 12, 20, if you're at an event out there, I think $20 is what I'm seeing, or $22 for a loaf of bread, but
Yeah, it
sure.
depends. I usually see it anywhere from 10 to 15, and it depends on how much they've paid to get into that market, which is a
Right.
whole nother story. But yeah.
So for me, I feel like you need to figure out ways to bundle, to upsell, to do special offers when you're at these kind of things, or even on your website, so that they have a reason to buy more from you, so
Hmm.
that that can actually make it much more financially feasible for you to do it because you're selling not, and then having to go drive somewhere to drop something off for a $12 loaf after you spent 3 hours and a full 24 hours to wait around for this thing to rise the way it needed to rise, or
Yeah.
just to make it. I mean, tomorrow, on Friday morning, I'm allotting 3 hours in the morning. And weirdly enough, this class that I have to take on Friday afternoon, you guys are gonna find this funny, is a Zoom class. And I have to listen. I have to be on camera because of the way that our continuing ed requirements are in Arizona. But I've already told my husband I'm going to clear my desk off and have all the stuff here to roll salami roses for this event on Friday because
Oh, right.
I'm gonna, or on Saturday. I'm going to be limited on time. So I'm going to sit here and listen and work at the same time because we're women. We can multitask pretty easily. No offense to the men on here, but women are amazing at multitasking. I can do five things
Yeah.
at once. So anyway, how are you going to package it? Because that will help you sustainability wise, but you have to plan, okay, so if you package, you do bundles where you're going to sell your soups, one for $12, whatever it is, and then if you buy three, you get a little better deal, but you're
Hmm.
selling more and they have a reason to want to do it, right?
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
also be sure that to make it sustainable, that you are hooking up with partners like corporate people or like the mortuaries or the realtors or the event planners so that you have other people helping to market you very easily so you can count on that kind of to help you stay more consistent with your sales. We have holiday coming up, Super Bowl, uh, Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day, all these reasons people love to party. So you need to start thinking about promoting, and you can have pages on your site that are specific to these holidays, and that's easy to do. And then you can just put pictures on there, of what it is that you're going to promote, and boom, oh my gosh, that roast. Now you really got me thinking about that. I stay
Oh,
focused.
the bouquet thing? Yeah.
Yeah. So the bouquet thing, right? Also, how about those digital products that you can sell online or the workshops, like I said? I think make sure that you've joined our Facebook group, Charcuterie and Cottage Food Success or Cottage Biz Success. Just search it on Facebook. But when you get to our resource page, our grazingbiz.com/resources, there's a link to get to our group because I am going to do a live class probably. I don't know. I'm hoping it'll be before the end of the month on how to set up a digital business so that you can sell online some of your digital products. So, and that meaning you can sell, how do you do this locally if you want to do
The
that? Whatever
courses,
it
the
is you're selling.
classes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, making it sustainable is trying to get as much online and automated as you absolutely possibly can, and just not be so focused on, trying to do it, randomly off your phone, because I just don't think that's really going to make you, big business sustainable. It's going to be really, really tough for you to do that. And then just be sure that you've tapped into everything that we offer here at Grazing Biz because we do have a lot of free help. This podcast, keep listening.
Yeah.
Tell everybody
This is
else in the
free.
world you know.
Yeah.
And also, if you really want to do this, we have a course, we have all the software, we provide everything you need to help get you off the ground and do it right. Understand that you have to invest in yourself, and just don't, $10 Bakesy sites are not going to do it because they don't have all the follow-up backup things that you need.
Right. They
It's just,
don't.
I'm sorry. If you really want to do this right and get out of the grind of working for somebody else, you've just got to start lining yourself up for success. And it includes getting tools in place. Good thing is we provide you all the help and all the tools in one spot that you need to do this. So definitely tap in. There's links
Hmm.
here in the show notes. But yeah, so there's our frequently asked questions and then some.
Yeah.
So
We love the then some.
the then some, we do like our little, discussion. And I hadn't talked to her for a week. Well, I shouldn't say that. We've been
That's
talking,
really,
but yeah, we just,
yeah, but not like serious
yeah, we've
talking
been
about
busy
anything.
through the holiday and, dealing with Andrew had an event and,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad the holiday was over because it was, we had a lot going
I
on.
was re I'm not gonna lie either. I love my family so much and
Yeah.
it was great. But when I got home that first night, I went, oh
Whew.
my
Yeah.
God.
I'm
Yeah.
the same way. When the first night, when my son, after everybody left, my
You had a
son came over.
longer, yeah.
Yeah, my
She had a
son
much
came over with
longer
his two
extended thing.
kids.
Yeah.
And I had them here for 2 days. So yeah, it was kind
Yeah.
of shoo.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, friends. Well,
Anyway,
we're so glad that you joined us today. We hope you come back and visit us again next week when we have a new episode rolling out. Please tell everyone you know. Can you like and share if you love what we do? Give us some ratings. Tell the world that we are here because we have, we'd like to move up the ranks of podcast land and tell more people about us because I don't think
yeah.
according to what I'm hearing, nobody's doing what we're doing as far as this subject goes. So,
I
you know
have no
what?
idea, but I know that we have a lot of people that love us.
Yeah.
So with that said, Patty said next week, I'm actually going to be in Disneyland next week. That's no
Ow.
joke.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try to
So
record. Maybe we
So
can.
we'll see if we can record something and have it ready for it next week, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
I might go so I
With her
maybe I'll fly
schedule,
solo. We'll see how it goes if we have
yeah,
to.
her schedule and my schedule might not go together next week. So we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.